Back there. Okay, so we're back on YouTube, we're back on Let's School. So now I'm going to start to combine these together so we can then cook this off. So I've just preheated my oven there, and I'm now going to combine all of these together to make my wonderful, wonderful Gougère pies. So if you've been watching the first part, we now need to get together a grease trip tin. And we're going to start to line all of this together into our grease tin. So you're going to need your greaseproof paper. You're going to need a pen or pencil. And you're going to need a pair of scissors. So we're going to be putting this whole thing together now so it fits in the middle. So I'm just going to move my dishes over here so you can see what I'm doing. We've got our trays, we've got our dishes. We're just going to get all of this together for you. And we're going to combine it together to make our wonderful pastries. Okay. Now, as you've seen on there, we need to be preheating the ovens before we start this one. So hopefully you've all preheated your oven there. And it's really important that we're going to be baking this. And when we bake it, we're not going to open it for 12 minutes. Okay, so it should be at 200 degrees, gas mark 6. Okay, depending on what sort of oven you've got. Hello. So we're back to those people watching us on YouTube. Fabulous. We're now just going to line our tin. So how do we line a tin? Well, let me show you on the board here how we line a tin. Hopefully you can see on the board there. If I move the camera down, you can see as well at home. There we go. I'm just going to, there we go. There. So I've got my tray there. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to line that tray. So to do that, I'm just going to get some greaseproof paper. Very easily. I'm going to get that. I'm going to draw around that greaseproof paper with a pen. I'm just drawing around, roughly around the greaseproof paper there. I've got a rough circle there. I'm going to cut out that now, and that's going to line the insides of our tray. Otherwise, we won't be able to get our pies out. So you see what I've done there. I'm just going to cut the circle out of my greaseproof paper. There we go. And once we cut that one out, there we go. Let's see what I'm doing there. There we go. I've got a nice circle there of greaseproof paper. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some grease onto my tray. So I'm totally making sure this doesn't stick. So I'm going to grease my tray here with some fat. There we go. Greasing the tray with some fat all the way around the outside. And I don't want this one to stick. So not only am I greasing this like that, but I grease it all the way around the outside. But I'm actually going to then line my tray. Line my tray with that circle in the bottom. You see what I've done there? It's going to go slightly up the outside. That's good. And I'm just going to put some more grease on there again. I just don't want this one to stick. There we go. One tray lined. You might be using a Teflon tray, in which case you won't need to worry about that, like a rubberized tray. Maybe you might not be able to worry about this. I'm just using a standard tray there. So I'm just going to grease and line that one before we start. Okay, that's the base to my pie tray done. Next, I need to put the Gougère, the choux pastry, all around the outside. Now, there's two ways I can do this one. I can either use 2 spoons, so I can use two tablespoons, and I can do what we call quenelling, or I can pipe it. So I've got 2 tablespoons here. I can use the choux pastry. That's the one, the pastry one we made earlier. Here's my choux pastry. You can see that choux pastry. Lovely choux pastry. What I can do is I can get 2 spoons. You see what I'm doing there? I've got 2 spoons. I'm going to get 1 spoon. There we go. 1 spoon there. And I'm going to quenelle. So what do I mean by quenelle? I'm going to move it from one spoon to the other spoon. And as I'm doing it, I'm smoothing over the sides and creating almost like a rugby ball or a ball. So we're going to do that one on the camera there so you can see. You see how I'm just scooping it from one to the other. And each time I'm doing it, I'm smoothing it over and forming a ball. Now these balls are going to go round the outside of our tray. I'm going to be putting these balls all the way around. Now the other option is you might want to pipe it. If you've got a piping bag at home, you might have something like one of these. This is like a commercial piping bag, which would be fabulous to use. Or you might have some domestic piping kits, something like that, which you could use as well. So you could use a piping kit like this. You could use a piping bag. I've got a piping bag here. Or in fact, you could even use some sandwich bags. So if you wanted to, you could use some sandwich bags, put the mixture into it, and then pipe it all the way around the outside. And what do I mean by that? Well, if I get a cup, this is the easiest way to do it. So I've got a cup there. I'm going to put my piping bag into the cup. I'm going to then pull down the sides over there. There we go. You can do it over a jug if you wanted to. And then I'm going to be putting my mixture into that. So I can put my mixture into it, scoop all my mixture in, and then I can just pipe it on. So you can pipe it on if you wanted to, or like I say, we can just do it via spoonfuls. The idea being that we want nice circular pieces of that choux pastry all the way around there. So let's just, for speed, I'm going to just try and get that one. I'm going to use a spoon. And I'm just going to do it backwards and forwards. But if you were doing this at GCSE, I would be asking you to pipe this all the way around the outside. But because we're doing this one, not doing this at GCSE today, we're not going to pipe it. We're just going to make little balls all the way around the outside. You see what we're doing there? So I'm going to do the same for the next one, and all the way around the outside while we preheat our oven. You try and make these balls as much as possible the same size all the way round. Otherwise, you're going to have an uneven bake, and you want a quality bake where you're going to have them all baking at the same. There we go. I'm just going to carry on putting these all the way around the outside there. I mean, if you wanted to, you could even get your hand in there and roll them into little balls. If you wanted to, get a little bit of oil on your fingers, and you can just literally just roll them up into your hands and make like little ping pong ball size, golf ball size circles all the way around the outside of this one. Now these will expand, obviously, like I say, because these are a choux pastry that we've beaten lots of air into, and they've had lots of water beaten into them as well. So we're just going to get the last bit of that mixture. Now, if you've got some photos of what yours looks like so far, if you want to share those ones, and if you're back at Talking Girls Grammar, you're more than happy to show me the camera if you want me to, see how yours are looking. Don't have to, that's fine. There we go, it's another one there. Little ball around the outside there. And we've got the last couple of balls made of this one before we get this one into the oven. And then we're going to just scoop out the thick sauce. That thick roux that we made is going to go into the centre of this one. Oops. Right, last one. So the last of this choux pastry already. If you are running out of mixture, you can make the balls slightly smaller so it fills up yours. You can always make more choux pastry if you want to. That's absolutely fine. You saw how quick it was to do once you've got the knack of it. Let me take some of that one off there. That one's a little bit too big. There we go. Just going to nailing that one. Okay, so I'm just going to move these around the outside. Now, a little tip here. If you get your fingers into some water, I just put some water there on my fingers. You can smooth these around the outside. And don't forget, these are going to expand and form the pastry, the wall to your pie. It's not going to be a traditional pastry pie. No, this is a choux pastry pie, so it's going to be a lot softer. There we go. I'm just going to smooth over those so they've got a lovely smooth finish to them. There we go. Just smoothing them all over so they're all about the same height. Wonderful. I'm just moving a little bit to the outside. So we've got a nice choux pastry ring there. Fabulous. Now into the middle of this, we're now going to be putting our roux sauce. which looks a little bit similar. And I'm just going to scoop that one out so you can see, and I'm just going to put that one into the middle of my pie. There we go. Now that I'm going to smooth out with my knife. Put that knife into some water. With a rounded butter knife. Just going to move that one into the middle. So we've got a nice smooth finish to there. And I'll tell you what, the last thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to put a tiny little bit more cheese just on the top of that one. Just a little bit, tiny bit of cheese just on the centre, just to finish that one off. A little bit of cheese in the middle there. Perfect. Now, this needs to go into the oven. Let's go back to me. Here we go. Okay, back to me. Back to me. There we go. So this is going to go into the oven there. It's going to go into the oven for, first thing it says there is put it in for 12 minutes. Do not open the door after 12 minutes. But what you can do after 12 minutes is just turn it round. So don't open the door before that 12 minutes. But after that 12 minutes, if you want to use the oven gloves to turn that around, so you've got an even bake all the way over, you can do for another 12 minutes. So you're looking for about, say 12 minutes and then 12 minutes on there. So you're looking around about 24 minutes left, okay, to bake these ones off. And you shall have yourself a beautiful puffed up choux pastry ring around the outside, savoury choux pastry ring with a wonderful Mornay sauce in the middle. When you get this one out, so it's not like a normal pie. It's going to be very moist and very airy pie there you've got going on. And it'll be a beautiful pie, but a beautiful tasting one. It smells really amazing when this comes on. It's even smelling good now with the cheese and bacon on that, or plant-based alternative to bacon. But you cut this up. It's more like a quiche centre to this one. So it's quite a moist centre to this one, and you'll be able to slice it up, enjoy it hot or cold. I prefer it hot. And that will be ready to go. So I'm going to go and put this one in the oven now. Don't forget to use your oven gloves when you put those into the oven. I'm just going to put this one into the oven for you. Okay, so what's going to happen? Let's recap some of that learning from today. What's going to happen? Let's talk about this choux pastry here. Oh, that's my pen. There it is. So we've got our roux, which we talked quite a bit about before. Let's talk a little bit about that choux. So we've got the choux pastry. The choux, it's spelled C-H-O-U-X. So you can see that one. There we go. So we've got the choux pastry there. Now that choux pastry, what we did was we added water, which is going to turn to steam. We added air into it. Remember, we're really beating air in. And that's going to add to it as well, add to that steam and air. Now they're both going to, what happens to gas when it gets hot? Go on, you can tell me this one. Soup and soup again first. Is it going to be Talking Girls Grammar or YouTube? What happens to the air when it gets hot? Smaller, bigger, expand, decrease? It rises, it helps it rise. What happens to the gas then? Is it getting, is the volume of that gas, what's happening to it? Is it beginning to expand, or obviously the gas is getting hotter, it's got more energy, it's going to begin to expand. The same as the water, it's going to put more energy, therefore it's expanding into the steam. It's going to expand, and as it expands, okay, that's going to expand. It's going to form, it's going to expand. And as it expands, inside something else we had there, let's just talk about something else. We had gluten. Do you remember we had flour and water? And we beat the two together. And that formed gluten. that gluten will expand with the steam and air that's in there. So because that gluten, we've got gluten there which expand because of the steam and the air. Therefore, it will raise up. That is a type of raising agent. So we're talking about physical raising agent. We're talking about something that is going to be raising up through physical methods. No chemicals in there. There's no baking powder, no bicarbonate of soda, no cream of tartar. No chemicals in there raising this up. It's not a self-raising flour. There's no yeast in there helping it to rise up. It's purely down to the steam and the air expanding the gluten to raise this one up. And this is what we call physical aeration. So you're going to get beautifully risen up choux pastry ring on this one, but not through chemicals and not through biological means. This is because of a physical aeration. So physical aeration, we've done roux, we've done choux, we've done physical aeration today. Loads going on in there. We also talked about gelatinization, how that roux begins to turn into this panada. That's through what we call gelatinization. Gelatinization. That was down to gelatinization. So much learning today in one piece of food. Just coming up to the end of the lesson now. So mine is say expanding in the oven there. I'm going to get that one on there. I'm going to show you some pictures of that one and see how it turns out. Apologies if you were watching this on YouTube. We had to go into a part 2 there. Don't know what quite happened to the camera there. We're having all sorts of issues with cameras today. But hopefully if you're on YouTube, you're watching that, you had some fun with that. If you're watching this Talkie Girls Grammar, I hope you've enjoyed that lesson too. And I'd love to see your pictures on the stream, on the chat stream there. So if you can post your pictures in there of what you've made today and how your gougères have turned out, that would be fabulous. If has anyone are they all in the oven? Has anyone got? Do you want to show us on camera what they've made so far if they've made them? If you haven't, don't worry. You might be making those later in the week or at the weekend. Hopefully, like I say, I can see some pictures. If you're watching us on YouTube and you want to send us some pictures, just email those through to us at the link on the YouTube channel. Brilliant. Again, I hope you've all enjoyed that and you've had a good bake going on. If anyone wants to do any shout outs, I know I need to say hello to all of those who are at Talkie Girls Grammar School today, who are watching along here. That's fabulous. So well done to all the support teachers there who are looking after the key workers, sons that have been looking after the children of the key workers there, also the key workers. After 12 minutes, what do we do? After 12 minutes, you can turn open the oven door then. It'll cool down the oven a little bit, so don't worry about that. Then you can just use your oven gloves just to turn the pan around, just to make sure you're getting an even bake on there. It will naturally, it's going to cool down the oven a little bit. Yes, it will. But that doesn't matter because what will have happened after that first 12 minutes, the gluten will have set, the protein will have set, and the egg protein will have set and coagulated and formed the shape on there. So if you'd opened it beforehand, they wouldn't have set properly and the choux pastry will collapse. So that's why important you have to leave it till after then. Right, thank you. Lots of thank yous coming in. Thank you very much, everybody who's watching this. I hope you have a lovely weekend. As always, be good, be safe, take care of yourselves and keep baking. And I love to see the pictures of what you've been doing. Thank you, everybody. I will post pictures of what this looks like very shortly. It's going to be out very shortly. I've put the timer on there. But thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed today's lesson. Please let us know if you have. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.